Welcome to the Hardcore MBA podcast with your host, Erlend Bakke.
Hello, Erlend Bakke here, signing in from beautiful Oslo. I've just finished my my green smoothie, which kind of looks like green goop. If you want to know more about that, I do need to make a video.
I've just made the same.
You've just had the same. Fantastic.
I'm still drinking the same.
How do you feel like that improves your life?
Oh, drinking the green juice?
Yes.
Oh, man. If I get that in my system first thing, the cells in my body are very happy. The nutrients that it gets first thing first thing in the morning, for me, it's some warm water with some lemon or some lime. I drink that. I feel refreshed. And then I have my green juice. I make it for myself, for my wife, and my kids. And I just take my time to drink it in the morning. Absolutely refreshing and energizing. That's what I feel.
So I actually saw Attram speak at the Yes Group, and I was blown away by his story, how engaging he is, and that's of course why I invited him here to share him with you on the Hardcore MBA YouTube channel and also the podcast, or you can get us on Stitcher. So Attram is basically an expert at helping companies increase their sales and revenue from 20% to 200% in just a few months. He is an author, a speaker. He travels all over the world, helping people make more money, understand simple business principles, as well as your money blueprint. I actually have my jars from MMI
fantastic.
just here.
Very good.
There's mostly in the FFA jar.
Good.
I see I'm lacking a little bit in the other ones, but I actually have them. I have them there to just have it visual. And I actually created, like, my bank accounts are now called the same, and they have been called the same since 2011.
Excellent.
When I attended MMI in San Diego.
Excellent.
Mac is also an expert at martial arts. So basically, you spent 30 years in martial arts. We're going to cover some of that. You speak on stage with people like Robert Kiyosaki, Les Brown, T. Harv Eker, Blair Singer, Duncan Bannatyne. The list goes on and on and on. So it's a true pleasure to have you on. We do need to know, because it's easy to look at you now and go like, oh yeah, okay. So he spoke in front of thousands of people this last 5 weeks on several continents, international speaker. But how did you actually get started?
How did I get started in this business? Good question. I got started because some time ago, my life wasn't that great. It's totally opposite to what it was many years ago. And I was running a computer company, and I was working hard to make that computer company work. And I ended up working 70 hours a week, 80 hours a week, 90 hours a week sometimes, not seeing my family. And a situation happened where I decided actually the life I have is not the life I really wanted for myself and my family. And at the same time, my business partners are stolen from me. I found myself in over £60,000 in personal debt. That's over $100,000 in personal debt. And I came to a crunch in my life where I remember driving back from my office one day, which was about an hour and a half in London, away from my home. 5 minutes from my home, I remember parking my car, and I sat there. I was almost in tears. I had my hands on the wheels and started asking myself these questions. How did I create this life? This is not what I wanted for myself, and this is not what I wanted for my family. And in that moment, I made a decision. I made a decision to change. The mind that created my situation could not be the mind that takes me out of my situation. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so that critical moment when I made that decision was a turning point for me. Suddenly I started attending workshops, seminars, and reading books and actually applying these things. So I realized in that moment, the things that I'd been doing certainly wasn't getting the result. So please, someone show me what works. If you show me what works, I will do it, because my life needs to change. I was so far down in a hole, the only way I could see was a light up. And one of the teachers I came across was T. Harv Eker, the Millionaire Mind Intensive. So I flew from London to Los Angeles for a 3-day 3-day weekend, which was life changing.
And what year was this?
This was November 2004. November 2004, Staples Convention Center. I will never ever forget that. I mean, there's some dates in your life that you'll never forget, and that was for me. That's one of them. And learning from T.R. Bakke, I started realizing what my money blueprint was, and why I was doing or behaving certain ways, and what works, what doesn't work. And I studied a lot more with him, and it was one of the reasons how I became a speaker, a trainer, a coach, because I realized one of my passions and purpose was to help other people. And I was doing that anyway, not getting paid, but my life was a mess, and trying to help other people is not going to work. But I started changing my life around, and within 18 months of that seminar, I was financially free, totally financially free. I started to fix my business, but I focused how I became financially free was not through that business, not a computer business. I started to focus on real estate property and acquiring real estate property using a particular strategy at that time, which was no money down, or a low amount of money down. And that started to change everything for me from a cash flow perspective, from a passive income perspective. And within 18 months, my life had totally, I became less worried about money, less stressed. And that got me onto the path of helping other people to do the same.
And the computer business, why did you start a business in the first place? Like, what was your inspiration to begin with?
Very good, thank you. And then what happened was, in my life, I'd worked for 3 corporate companies. The first one I worked for, I was recruited as a retail, what do they call it, graduate retail manager. And that company took care of me, and I stayed with them for 7 years. And then I was itching that I wanted something else, something different. And I worked for another company for 2 years, and I still didn't find what I was looking for. So I changed, went to another retail management company, and I lasted less than a year. I said, look, I need my own time. I need to do my own thing. So I started this computer company, 1999. I thought, wow, this is the computer industry. I think it's going to take off, the internet, a whole internet e-commerce type thing. And for me, it was an industry that was growing. But the problem I had was it was an industry that I identified as potential growth, but it wasn't something I was passionate about. And I was doing it for money, not for the right reasons. And that became a big lesson for me. Never, ever, ever do something purely for the money. Do it for the passion and the purpose that you have, and for the value that you're going to provide to people. So although that computer business was bringing in money, I had to work really hard for it.
And why do you think so many people, because I did this exact same thing, 2007, I was fired from my first proper job. I was working in brand consulting in London. And I really had to ask myself what I really want to do. And I was like, oh, well, I kind of want to have a lot of money, because I figure out that will solve a lot of my problems in life. And I did a startup with a friend, left that company after a year, and then did a similar startup, multiple failures. But along the way, a lot of it was just like, oh, how can I make a lot of money? Because that was my solution to being loved, liked, and etc. All
money.
Those things, yeah. So it's interesting how you say that in the early days, the same goes for you. I think the same went for me, and it goes for a lot of people. So I think Tony Robbins says success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. Because if, let's say, we'd struck gold, but we weren't fulfilled, and we then had all the money, but we weren't happy at all, and we hated what we did. I mean, I think that's the case also for some rich people.
It happens. It happens. They get all the wealth, all the success all the wealth that they've ever wanted, all the money they wanted, but internally they're not happy. And some of them they have family crises. But so money is only one side of success. It's only one side. I say to people, what does success mean to you? And, for me, it's always about balance, having a great family, having great friends around you, having the money, having the financial freedom, having wealth. But it's all a balance, because I think the world is abundant, and live abundantly. Not that you can have this, but you can't have this. You can have it all. That's my take on it.
It's actually writing down here in my journal today that all the things that I actually really value are free or extremely inexpensive.
Yeah.
Like a good dinner with friends, working on a book, going for a walk, exercising. All those things are very inexpensive.
Yeah.
I think that's something that's dramatically changed for me as I've made more money. But why? So why do we go? Oh, money's the solution to all our problems. Is it media? Is it where does it come from?
That's a good question. I think for a lot of people, it's different things, and sometimes it's media, sometimes it's family situations, sometimes it's someone's brought up in a certainly family situation where there was no money, and so they swear to themselves, "Look, I'm never going to live that way," and they go out to prove. Because of anger or fear that I'm not going to live that way. And they go and do some things to make the money. And sometimes they'll make the money, but they're not happy and fulfilled, like we said. And also, I think the media and sometimes culture enforces the fact that, look, money is everything. No, money is not everything. And so, as you know, once you have them, like I'm financially free, millionaire, don't have to work. But then, why do I continue doing what I'm doing and serving other people? Because it's not about the money. I believe it's the difference that you can make to other people and the value you can bring to them. And so I think in everyone's life, there comes a time where they have to make that critical distinction between what they really want or what they really value, like you said earlier, and go for that rather than just chasing the money, right? And because it's very short-lived. I mean, you can move to a remote part of the world. You can have income coming in from wherever. If you set that up, but you can have your freedom and joy of your family, of your friends. I agree with you. With me, it's not about the money. If I'm doing something with my family, to me, if I'm doing something with my kids, I'm totally happy. And most of that doesn't even need money.
Yeah,
Right.
Absolutely. So so you said with your real estate stuff, what kind of? So you said money shouldn't be what drives you, but in terms of real estate, what element of that is that really makes you fulfilled?
Here's the thing, Erlend. I don't enjoy real estate.
Okay.
I don't really. I listen. As I was going through the courses, and I became very clear that what I actually wanted was financial freedom. Right? I wanted financial freedom to have the choices to do what I wanted to do, be with my family, travel, do all the things I wanted to do. So that was my focus. And one of T. Harv Eker's courses, and I went on other courses as well, they talked about various financial freedom vehicles. And what came to my mind was, real estate makes sense. And at that time, in 2004, 2005, the real estate market in the UK was bubbling, was on the verge of really rising. It was just bubbling. People were still scared. But I started using this strategy. And remember, I was broke, over $100,000 in debt. And I was willing to apply, myself and my wife, willing to apply whatever we were taught. Look, this works, go and do it. And I learned this strategy in America and the US, and I thought, there's no way it'll work in the UK. No way. But let me go and implement it because that's what they taught us. And remember, I was willing to do whatever they told me to do. And I started implementing, and the first time it worked, I thought, my goodness, how can I do this again? The first time I managed to acquire a property with no money down by helping someone else with their property problem. with a real estate problem. I thought, wow, this is great. So I started doing more and more of that, and I became financially free very quickly within 18 months. So no, nowadays my wife, runs our property business. She's very good at it. She's better than I am. I'll do the deals, and then I'll leave, pass it on to her. She will then do all the legal work, speak to lawyers, all that kind of stuff. So I don't enjoy that. I don't enjoy all the systems that go, the processes that go with it. But what I do enjoy is helping people and talking to people, and hence the reason there's no accident why I'm in the training, speaking, coaching profession.
So in the disc profile, you're basically an influencer, and she's more of the sort of S and the C, like stability and compliance.
Yeah,
introvert and systems and stuff, and you're more like, hey man, listen to me.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's not even listen to me. It's very much look. How can I help you?
Yes.
How can I help you?
Yeah.
Like Erlend said, Mac, let's do an interview. I think you've got great stuff to share to the world. And I'm very busy. I've just come off a 5-week tour in Malaysia, Vietnam, Singapore, Thailand, London. And that was only recently, and I've just done a program this weekend, just gone with some people. Well, on Friday, and so my schedule. I mean, it's taken us weeks just to speak, right? But Erlend says, okay. How can I add value to Erlend and Erlend, whatever Erlend's doing? Let's speak. No money is involved, but let's speak, right? And that's all we're doing. Okay, because we don't know what that will lead to. We'll probably doing some other stuff later on, or I may end up doing some things for your people, or you do something for my people. The world is abundant, and so I'm never closed-minded as to who I speak to, who I don't speak to, whether it's whether it's a top speaker or a top business person or someone who's just starting up. Just be open and free with how I can help. That's what I do.
So I'm actually reading a book right now called Frequency.
Okay.
And frequency basically is about how if you have low. So I think I saw your green stuff there.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's great stuff. Great stuff.
So low frequency. I think like when I started my first business, when it was all sort of money and basically the 7 sins. If you are focused and want the 7 sins, like greed and the rest of them, then it's a very sort of low energy. It's an energy, and it has an attraction, and oftentimes people that are greedy hang out with greedy people, etc.
Absolutely.
Then you have giving, gratitude, all the virtues.
Yeah.
And they have a very different frequency. So do you think and feel that when you are on stage that you're giving back, sort of helping? Do you have a high frequency when you're on stage?
I think that's one way of looking at it. I mean, I don't even look at it as frequencies. I think if you're a jerk, you'll attract jerks. If you're a giving person, you'll attract giving people. And that's the way I look at it. I think if I'm out there adding value to people, other people add value to me. And I've used that same mindset for years and years and years. And there's no accident as to why my life changed. But if you are in an environment where that environment is constantly negative, you will become, unfortunately, environment is greater than willpower, and they will take you down. And you will become like them. And for many years, my environment was very negative, and I had to make a conscious decision to remove myself from certain environments and really focus on what really makes a difference. And so when I'm on stage, it's not really even for me giving back. It's just giving. I don't even use the word giving back. Giving back what? Yes, I've got and I still get, but I'm giving as well as receiving. Do you understand?
So you're giving without expecting anything in return.
Absolutely, constantly, every day, and that's how I live.
It's interesting what you said about jerks attract jerks. In 2011, I bought my dream car. I thought that having a Porsche convertible would really change how people viewed me. I was still in this I've been to lots of courses, but I still didn't get it.
Sure.
And the thing is, having that car actually made people that didn't like me before like me even less. So
Right. Yeah,
that
I
was an
hear you.
interesting experience, and it's actually I would worry about, oh, did I park it in a safe place? So I was still in the sort of scarcity mindset.
Right.
Even though I had like what I wanted, I was still living in scarcity, which is weird.
Crazy.
So let's talk about martial arts, because you've done martial arts for about 30 years. I've done some martial arts before, but I haven't done 30 years. Explain to me why you started doing that and how that has been an integrated part of your life and still is.
Thank you, thank you. So I've been practicing martial arts for over 32 years. So I started when I was around the age of 13. So you can see what my age is. So what happened was, when I was at high school, some people started to, yeah, still adding it up, right? So I'm 45, be 46 soon.
Wow.
And
You do not look
yeah.
it, man.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. It must be the green juice. What do you think, Erlend?
I think so.
I've been juicing for 15 years
I'm
as
actually
well.
14.
Yeah, well, good. You're doing well. I was bullied, or people tried to bully me, and then at school there was a martial arts class, and there was a judo class. So I started to attend that, and within a few weeks of attending that, the bullying stopped, because suddenly I must have had a different aura about me, a different way, because I was always a small child. I was very, I wasn't a big child, always small, very weak, much stronger now. But and I started practicing the art of judo and another style called Aikido. I did that for many years.
That's what I've done.
And
Aikido.
you did
Yeah.
Aikido as well.
Yeah.
It's very, very good. And the same teacher who taught me judo taught me Aikido. And he was actually a teacher in my high school. And of all the classes, his class, he taught craft design technology, which I had no interest in, but I always got top marks in that class. All my grades was always top class because I respected that man. And I did okay at school. So I carried on practicing different styles. I had Thai boxing and kung fu and different things. But for the last 15 years, it's been Taekwondo. And in Taekwondo, I'm a 4th Dan black belt, practicing for my 5th Dan next year. And so for me, what that brings to me, and what if I look back at my life, what is constant, what is consistent is that of discipline, is that of focus, is that of determination, is that of perseverance, and doing whatever it takes. So that kind of thing has helped me a lot, and never ever giving up. Okay, because I found myself in situations where a lot of people would have given up, but yet I found myself in a situation not too long ago where I was working too hard, and that sometimes you can work hard at something, but if the results are not coming, you need to put a break on it and say something's not right here. What's a better way of doing it? So I think my martial arts discipline, practice, and committing to that has helped me a great deal.
It's a pattern that I've seen in a lot of successful people.
Right.
Mark Devine, the Navy SEAL.
Okay.
He did Saido Karate in New York, and lots of others sort of meditation practices and discipline. And he's one of the most successful Navy SEAls of all time. Tim Ferriss also
Tim
did
Ferriss,
martial
yeah,
arts,
he did, yeah.
and so on and so forth.
Right.
These are only the public people that we know. But so when it comes to your kids,
Yeah.
how are you educating them about all the things that you know? Because I know in my upbringing,
Yeah.
go to school, get good grades, do as your teacher says, sit down, shut up. Like basically, we learn all the things that aren't really that smart to do for an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And you are programmed to be an employee, trade your time for money.
Yeah.
How are you incorporating your wisdom into your kids' lives?
Absolutely. Thank you. That's a great question. And the way I look at it, and I discussed this with my wife many times, is that the way we raise our kids is to nurture them to become the best they can. whatever field they choose, whatever. So I have 3 kids. My 14-year-old girl, she's very creative, very artistic. She loves performing. She's been on TV. She loves art. She gets top marks in art. So guess where our skills lie? Somewhere down there. But we are not going to push her to become a accountant. That's not going to happen. But we will nurture and help her and direct her the right way that we feel naturally, and she feels naturally that's for her. Same as my second child, who's 10, and she's very academic, very, very intelligent, picks up things very, very quickly, very smart, very intelligent. She likes the arts as well. So that is still early days, but we'll see where that goes. And with my boy Brandon, my 8-year-old boy, he's very mechanical, very likes to take things apart, put them together, tries to figure out how things work. And he if he wants to see how things work, he will get the right book and he'll read it and figure it all out. But if you tell him, go and read this book, why, Dad? It doesn't make any sense. Why? But if you give him a subject that is, he'll be there all day. So the way we nurture them is to allow them to explore and identify who they really are. And what we are watching out for is their God-given gifts or talents just to come out, and not intentionally pushing them down any particular route, but just let it come out, and we can direct them the right way. I think the worst thing, because I'm very conscious and very aware of this, as you are, Erlend, it's the worst thing I can do is that you will be a doctor, or you will be a lawyer, or no. I mean, that is very old school, and when it also comes to entrepreneurialism as well, when my wife and I are talking, sometimes it's easy to say, okay, what do you do when you go up? And so we are very conscious that we keep it open, whether you want to be an employee or whether you want to be an employer. What do you want to do? And they're thinking that, and hopefully that they want to be employers and employ other people using the skills they have. But whatever it is, whatever they can do to add value and make a difference to this world, we will nurture them that way without particularly forcing our own agenda or projecting our own agenda on them. All my kids from the age of 3.5, 4, they all started martial arts. They enjoy it. My daughter, my oldest daughter, is a second dan black belt in Taekwondo, and they enjoy these kind of things. They do different activities. They do different sports activities. They won medals in gymnastics, all these kind of things. So whatever it is, Dad, can I go and do this? Yeah, my son plays football. And so we are willing to give them the opportunity to go and explore what they like and what they really find passionate about, which as a child, I didn't necessarily get that. But my parents weren't too hard. They just wanted me to be a success in something. So, but for them, their mindset was more of an employee mindset. Get a job, feel secure. Don't want, so, but there is no job security nowadays. There is no such thing. Do what makes your heart sings, do what makes you feel good, but at the same time do it in a way that it adds value to other people. So guess what, when it adds value to other people, you'll always get paid.
I guess the challenge is because earlier you said environment is more powerful than willpower, right?
Correct.
And so when you and your wife are just yourselves and, you talk openly about business, you talk, and, people then go, oh, that becomes a big part of their world. But at the same time, your kids are at school with parents that have a different mindset. So they're
Correct.
So they're sort of in different environments throughout life. I think one of the things, I'm not a dad myself, but I think one of the things that will be a bit challenging for me is sort of wanting them to understand things and then not forcing it on them. I think that's a very, like, even let's say it's employees. So let's say you have a mindset for how the world works, and how do you, because one way is to like force feed people, which doesn't work. Another one is sort of just like being and doing and leading by example.
Yeah.
So What?
I think the way I look at it is myself and my wife are just guides. We're a guide. We're a guide for them. And so, we're aware of the world more than they are. And if they're willing to take our advice as they grow up, we'll give them that. But we just guide them and say, look, if you go down this route, it may look like this. If you go down this route, it may look like that. What do you really want to do? And we're both coaches. We coach them through the whole thing. But like I said, and you echoed as well. We don't force them to do anything. We won't force them to do anything. We will help them to identify their path. Because I think all of us have a path. I think all of us are born with a purpose or a mission. And I think it's down to all of us individually to find out or to establish what that purpose or what that mission is, and live by that. And I think using your talents, using your gifts to do that, what can be better? What can be better than that? Whether you're an employee or whether you are an entrepreneur or business owner, I think it really doesn't matter. Because here's the thing. Maybe, let's say you are destined to be the president of the country, right? That's not an entrepreneur. So why would I then pull you down and say, actually, don't become the president, go down this. No, let you grow. It's like I say to people, imagine a seed, and that seed can be in the right soil. That's a right environment, or it can be in the wrong soil, which is a wrong environment. And if that seed is in a wrong environment, what kind of plant is that going to grow? Either very poor plant or very unhealthy plant, or it will die. Okay, if it's in the right environment, it has everything it has all the nutrients and to be nurtured into a tall tree or plant or whatever. If you understand what I mean.
Yes. The roots become the fruits.
Absolutely, you got it. Absolutely. Your roots become your roots create your fruits.
So let's talk about faith, because a lot of entrepreneurship is about. So when you did your real estate stuff, you were like, okay, I'm going to have faith that this is going to work out. How do we maintain faith in ourselves, in what we're doing? So because once we're connected to this feeling, which is like I never knew that I would be doing these kind of podcast interviews. I actually just enjoy them. I did some interviews for my book, and I was like, this is cool. If I could do this every week, I would be very happy. So I'm going to do that. And you just kind of have to have faith that that's going to be nothing logical. There was nothing logical about it. It was just like, this is fun. I want to do it. I'm going to help other people by doing these interviews, and I'll meet lots of cool people and help them share their knowledge. That was basically it. So I had faith that, it would become popular and things. But it's very difficult when you, let's say you are in a dark place, in a low energy, and you hang out with assholes and all that stuff. It's hard to have faith. How can you kind of have faith through that journey and keep it?
Good question there, Erlend. I think, and I say to people as well, that it's about becoming clear on what you want. It's about having clarity. What is it you actually really, really, really want? Identifying what you really, really, really want. Once you have that, it's then about focus. Focus on what is it you really want. So there will be other people around you who don't want the same thing. That's okay, but maybe spend less time with them so they don't take you down. And then there's going to be other people around you that may be wanting to support you. But be clear, because if you're not clear on what you want, guess what? What will happen is that you will start doing what other people want, not what you really, really want. Do you understand? And so be clear on that. Focus on what you want. And then it's a case of discipline to stay with what you've decided to do. The action and the discipline constantly. And so it's not an easy thing. But what I found is that once you're clear and then you're committed, and you would have done the same research as me, but highly successful people are always focused on their outcome. They don't play by the tune of other people. They have the goal or they have the clarity, and then they just go for it. They go for it. They go for it. They go for it. And when you do, what happens is this. You move, even if you don't get the goal, that you actually move closer to what it is you're really supposed to be doing. Right. So even if you think, I need to be coaching people, you're coaching people, and suddenly you do some interviews and you think, wow, interviewing, podcasting, I love this. Wow, that gives me fulfillment, and I'm helping hundreds of thousands of people around the world. What could be what could be better? Right. So I think it's always a case of taking the action and moving closer to the result that you want.
So you've written a book called How to Succeed: The Inspired Warrior's Code.
Yep.
Can you talk us quickly through that book?
Yeah, absolutely. It's this book here. It's the Inspired Warrior's Code. And when I first wrote this, it's called the 7 Universal Principles for Achieving Your Unique Greatness. I published this in 2010. At that time, I'd been financially free for over 4 or 5 years. And I was out there coaching and training, helping a lot of people. And people started asking me, Mac, how do I do this? How do I do that? And what I decided to do is to just put it into a book. Book in terms of the way I do things, the way I focus on things, how I attract good things into my life, how I think abundantly. And so anyone picking up this book, you'll see there's seven key chapters in the book, and it starts off with really, I love it. Right at the beginning, there's a quote from Bakke Fuller, and if you've never studied Buckminster Fuller's stuff, you'll know what I'm. If you haven't, I highly recommend you do. And he says this: never forget that you are one of a kind. Never forget that if there weren't any need for you in all your uniqueness to be on this earth, you wouldn't be here in the first place. And never forget, no matter how overwhelming life's challenges and problems seem to be, that one person can make a difference in the world. In fact, it is always because of one person that all changes happen, that matter in the world come about. So be that one person. R. Buckminster Fuller. Right. And so that's always been an inspiration for me. The first chapter, we talk about life blueprint. And that is really designing your life the way you want it, not the way other people said it should be, the way you want it. So that's a life blueprint. The second chapter is about what we call audentia. Audentia is knowing yourself. Who am I? How do I think? How do I do things? Who am I? My true authenticity. Who am I when I'm being very, very congruent? And so people don't know who they are. So chapter 2, you identify who you are and start living from that. Then we talk about synchronicity. Well, I believe in synchronicity. I believe in miracles. I believe in chances. And it's a case of recognizing that, me meeting you, Erlend, was by no accident. We were supposed to meet. But when I rewind on all the incidences I had, good or bad, I was supposed to meet those people. I was supposed to do things with those people. And if it went badly, it was a lesson for me. If it went well, that's a lesson for me too. So I think it's a case of people recognizing the synchronicity happens. If you rewind all the incidences that have happened, they've happened for a reason, good or bad. Then we talk about koinonia. Koinonia is a Greek word which talks about community. Really, who do you surround yourself with? And if you remember the Greek forum or the Roman forum, people will come together and they'll talk, they'll share ideas, they'll share thoughts, and people will support each other. And that's the kind of way I live, through masterminding, through supporting other people and they supporting me. And that particular phrase, we call it koinonia.
I think one of my, I kind of teach people about outsourcing and team and dream team and all that stuff. But it's actually, that's what saved me in business. That's what's worked for me. That's what's always worked for me.
Got it.
But I haven't really embedded it to the full amount that I should have done, because collaboration is like, that's everything in business.
It's leverage, right?
Yeah.
It's leverage, because why would you try and figure it out yourself when there are other people who can support you, who know better because they've been through it, and they're willing to help you. So surround yourself with people you can help and they can help you. So I'm involved in a couple of masterminds, and I have been for years, and that's what's propelled my life forward. And my first book was called The Power of Masterminding, actually available on Amazon as well. So that's the essence of the book. And I talk about, living time out for yourself, time out for your family, time out to enjoy nature, like we were talking about earlier on. And also, last chapter talks about the champion spirit. building a spirit that is of champion, thinking of and living from a champion spirit. So you never give up. And that champion spirit can be developed over years. And for me, it was through martial arts, but people do it through sports. They do it through other means as well.
And what about the 7x7 challenge?
7x7 challenge, yeah. So people who get the book, they at the back of the book there is a 7x7 challenge. So what I say to them, look, things don't happen overnight, and so 7 days over 7 weeks, 49 days. There's an exercise to do, one exercise a day, one exercise a day, so you can start developing, becoming into an inspired, what I call an inspired warrior, inspired from the word, from spirit, and warrior, just strength and courage. So doing things from strength and courage, but in a spiritual way, if you like, but doing it from goodness, doing it from abundance, doing it for the right reasons. And so that's the essence of the book, the Inspired Warriors Code book.
So check that book out, guys, on Amazon. You're also working on your next book. Can you give us a little teaser of that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So my first book was called The Power of Masterminding, which is a personal development book about masterminding. The second one is another personal development book more about you and living a life that you really, really deserve. The third book is a business book, and it's going to be called Face It and Fix It. And that's come for the last 5 years working with business owners, helping them to fix their business. And when I go in there, often they are not aware of what the issues are, or sometimes they are aware, but they're not fixing it. And so in the book, I've done a lot of research in terms of I identified a type of business, different types of business owners and how they operate. And often when a business owner is faced with a challenge and they can't fix it, they put their head under the sand, or they think it might go away. No. I say, look, face it and fix it. And I've given them strategies on how that can happen as well. So it's an amazing book that will be coming out in the new year. So if you're in business and it's for people who've been in business for years and realizing things are not working, this is how you can make it work better. Or you're thinking of getting into business, get a book, because it'll show you the pitfalls that business owners have made in front of you already, so you don't have to make those mistakes.
We may have to do another episode on that book, actually.
Well, I look forward to that, Erlend. Just let me know. Once we launch it, let's do that. That would be great. I look forward to it.
So how can we get more information about you? So if you've watched this video, you've listened to it, and you're like, yes, I want to work with Mac, how can we get in touch with you?
Yeah, absolutely. You can go to my website, macattram.com, MACATTRAM.com, or you can go to my business site, which is mindspacebusiness.com, which is all about business and supporting people and business owners to have a better life and make more money. So either way, you can contact me or check me out on my Facebook fan page. Drop me a message, say hi, and let's talk.
Fantastic. Guys, this has been a true pleasure. Thank you so much. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like it. And of course, if you didn't like it, you can also press you didn't like it, because that gives us feedback. That makes the show better. If you're listening on iTunes, writing a review really, really helps us reach a larger audience. Mac, thank you so much for being on the show.
You're most welcome, my friend.
It's been a true pleasure.
Thank you for inviting me. I really, really appreciate it. Speak to you next time.
Absolutely.
Bye for now.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Bye.
This podcast is brought to you by MrOutsource.com. Outsourcing to the Philippines done for you. Mr. Outsource is a recruitment company matching busy entrepreneurs with Filipino virtual assistants, so you can have the time to focus on what's important.